Nestled deep within the forests of Uttarakhand, hidden beneath the shadows of Himalayan cliffs, lies an ancient village called Kaalgram. There are no cell signals, no official maps, and no one at the mountain base dares to speak its name after sundown. No one lives in Kaalgram by chance. They live there to guard something. For over 300 years, from one generation to the next, a single warning has been passed down. When the moon descends 3 times in a single night, the gate below the earth will breathe, and only one ritual can keep it sealed. That ritual is performed once every 300 years. The last was in 1723. And now, according to an ancient Vedic calendar carved into stone, it would happen again, on the 3rd night of the 7th lunar month. The first to discover it was Anika Sharma, a 25-year-old woman born in Kaalgram but raised in New Delhi. She had returned to the village after the sudden and strange death of her grandmother, Mata Mira, the last keeper of the ritual. Anika had no knowledge of the tradition. Not until the village's eldest, old Devi, pressed a blood-colored journal into her hands and whispered with trembling lips, "Your grandmother guarded the gate. Now it's your turn." Inside the journal were chants written in archaic Sanskrit, a hidden map of Kaalgram, and a drawing of a stone circle with 13 moon-marked pillars. At the very last page, a line appeared, written in shaky, smeared ink. 1723, 3 moonfalls, infant blood, the soul of an outsider, the song of black night. No names were mentioned, only a faded photo. A man without eyes, standing in the forest, clutching a goat's head, with a long shadow behind him, stretching all the way to the tree line. Anika took the journal to Pandit Ravi, caretaker of the village's ancient Devi temple. His hand shook as he flipped through the lunar charts. That night, the moon aligns with Virgo. Surya, Jupiter, and Yama converge. It happened last in 1723. That night, 16 villagers vanished. He folded his hands in prayer. If the ritual is not completed, the gate beneath us will open. What lies there needs no name. It only needs to be remembered. Kaalgram was never built as a settlement. It was designed as a seal, 12 ancestral homes encircling a sacred pit known as the Silent Mouth. The pit was paved with laterite stone and the roots of wild vetiver, and it would only open on the night of 3 moonfalls. No one remembered the full ritual. Only fragments remained. Mata Mira once said, "The rite needs 3 things: a pure-blooded vessel, a living offering, and one who enters the gate and never looks." Then came the first moonfall. The full moon rose to the mountain's peak, then vanished from the sky. No clouds, no eclipse, just gone. For 60 seconds, absolute silence. Every dog in the village howled, then collapsed and died. Water in the wells turned from clear to murky black. Anika read from the old journal. As she did, blood dripped from her nose and splashed across the page. And then a new line appeared. "You have accepted your role. Now, you cannot leave." Pandit Ravi gathered the villagers. Only 32 remain. He addressed them solemnly. "We must complete the ritual before the 3rd moonfall, or this land will vanish from all memory." They panicked, but no one could leave. The forest paths had disappeared. GPS gave no signal. Compasses spun wildly. They were now bound to the ritual. The living offering had to be a child born at the exact intersection of lunar and planetary alignment. Only one child fit the mark: Ishan, son of Devaki and Karen, barely 18 days old. No one wanted to offer him until the 2nd moonfall. A man named Harish was pulled into the ground at noon before a gathering crowd. From the soil came a whisper. One is not enough. There must be 3. The second offering had to be an outsider. A journalist named Raghav Sen, who had arrived last month with an archaeological team, was chosen. He didn't believe in spirits or rituals. But after the second moon vanished, his left eye turned blind, and in mirrors he had no reflection. He stepped into the stone circle willingly. If something waits on the other side, he said, please don't let it follow me back. Anika, the bloodborn, had to chant the ancient song, but when she began, the air twisted her voice. Dozens of versions of herself echoed outward. The voice of her grandmother, the cries of a child, even her own voice sobbing. Pandit Ravi whispered in terror, "The gate is opening. It's choosing a soul to learn how to speak." The third moonfall arrived. The sky lost all color, neither black nor blue but blank. 3 moons appeared simultaneously, and then, one by one, they dropped, ripped from the heavens. The silent mouth opened, a screech like bone shattering inside a hollow drum. Anika stood at the edge. Her chant ended. Baby Ishan slept in his mother's arms, unaware that the world was holding its breath. Raghav had already stepped into the pit. The villagers stood around the circle, holding candles glowing with a cold blue flame. Then it came. A blackened hand, 3 times the length of a human arm, rose from the depths, touched the stone rim, and slipped back down. Moments later, the earth beneath the circle began to swell and breathe. The ancient laterite stones cracked. From between them, hundreds of small, twisted hands emerged, charred, trembling, reaching not to escape, but to plead. They reached upward like supplicants, and in the dead silence that followed, everyone heard a voice inside their heads. This time, do you know my name? Anika collapsed. Blood oozed from her ears. She looked into the pit. Raghav still stood, unmoving, but his eyes were wide open, the whites turning pitch black like thick tar. And then he smiled, not with joy, but with something trying to imitate it. A sharp, metallic laughter burst from his throat. From the bottom of the pit, hundreds of voices joined in, each laugh incomplete, glitching like creatures learning to mimic humans by tearing the sound apart. One of the voices was Anika's own. It whispered, "Would you like to switch places?" Anika was flooded by the laughter, not from the outside, but from inside her mind. It came from every direction. She tried to step back, but her legs were bound. Something beneath the earth had wrapped around her tendons. Raghav, whatever he had become, glanced upward once more. Then he slid into the darkness, his mouth still open, his laughter still echoing, even though his body was gone. The sky shuddered, and then the third moon, the final one, shattered, not with light, but with an absence of it, colorless, silent, infinite. And then everything stopped. The noises, the trembling, the pit closed slowly as though it had never opened. But someone was missing. Among the villagers, someone whispered, "Count again. Someone is gone." No one knew who. No one remembered the face. as if the gate had taken not just a body, but a memory. After the ritual, Anika left Kaalgram, but every mirror she looked into refused to reflect her face. Only a vague outline, and behind her, a blurred figure, always a breath too close. In her dreams, she stood before the silent mouth. Alone, no moon, no villagers, only a familiar voice from beneath the soil. We will meet again when the sky runs out of moons and people forget who they are. The ritual is over, but the gate is not closed. It only waits for someone to forget they are the one guarding it. Subscribe to Dark Whispers for more ancient rituals, forbidden gates and dreams that never belong to you, portals not sealed by locks, but by memory, entities that need no flesh, only an old song to rise, moons that don't shine, they observe, because some rituals don't save the world, they simply buy time, and some souls aren't sacrificed, they walk into the dark willingly. One night, the moon may fall 3 times again, and if your name is called within the stone circle, will you enter or will you turn away? Remember, some questions don't want an answer. They just want someone listening.